Hello Orchid friends, welcome back to my channel. Wherever you are, I hope you're having a great day, staying healthy and staying safe. Today we're looking at this Germaine Vincent. It's a cross between Violacea indigo and speciosa. There are two Germaine Vincents in my collection. This one is the smaller of the two. Not necessarily because it has fewer leaves or smaller in size, it's just smaller root system. It has a smaller root system, so I tend to call this one the smaller one, or number 2, but both Germaine Vincents were really purchased at the same time from the same nursery, and I was told that they were siblings, seed propagated siblings. The reason I want to stress seed propagated because later in the video you'll see why I want to say that. This is a video clip from this bloom cycle's first bloom video from this bloom cycle, and the second bloom cycle is shortly after, so in between they were only about 2 months. And I never quite understand because this orchid sometimes bloom at different time of the year. So I suppose it just depends on when it wants to bloom, and it doesn't have a set time. Because speciosa or tetraspis in my environment can free bloom whenever it wants. But then violacea tend to bloom in the summer for me. Late spring, early summer. So this orchid sometimes does bloom in winter, so sometimes I feel it's just because of speciosa as a father, it's just free blooming. And here is the starting point of the second bloom. And he started to put out a new flower spike as well. So for this particular orchid, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there are 5 flower spikes, which is quite amazing because this is a orchid with decent amount of leaves, 4 or 5 leaves, but small root system. If you stick around, you'll see it's in an 8-ounce cup. It's a small cup, and the reason I put it in small cup was because it did not have a substantial amount of root. So I thought it would be more appropriate for me to use a smaller container versus a bigger container. Because as we know, the bigger the container, the more substrate I would need to use for this orchid, and the longer it would take for this orchid to achieve that wet-dry cycle. Unless I only always give this orchid a very specific amount of water. And sometimes that's even difficult to control when you have a much bigger the necessary container with too much medium. This orchid is fragrant, and the fragrance is closer to Violacea fragrance with a little bit of spiciness to it. And this time around, this orchid's white edge is even more prominent than before. Previously, I never really noticed it until this orchid bloomed for the second or third time. So the white edge somehow is more pronounced each time it blooms. So we'll see if this continues to become the trend. And here I changed the background to a darker background, so that way you get to see the white edge a little bit better. And the reason why I want to call out the white edge of the flower, and earlier in the video I mentioned that these two Germaine Vincents I have in my collection are seed propagated. The reason I want to stress these two factors is because the other Germaine Vincent in my collection, the bloom for that one is completely different. And later in the video you'll see I have them side by side. So you can really easily see what I mean by the difference between the two. And here is just a video clip of this orchid's bloom, second bloom. I always try to include a video clip because that way you get to see the orchid more of it in a 360 kind of way. because I do already take a lot of photos, but sometimes photo is still just, you know, one photo, one angle. But with a video, it's just easier for you to see the whole thing. But obviously, I don't want to do an 8-minute video, 10-minute video on one orchid, you know, just turning it around for 8-10 minutes. So this is what I do. I try to do this for every single orchid when it's in bloom. This orchid is pretty amazing for its own size. It's a very small container, and yet it's so vigorous with so many spikes. I think after another year, this orchid will be growing out of this container and I'll have to uppot it. But I think for the next bloom cycle, I can still get away with having this orchid in this container. And then coming up right here, you can see the 2 Germaine Vincents I have. They did have a little bit of overlap in blooms, so I thought I would put them side by side. And you can see both of them are Germaine Vincent, but they have very different characteristics. The one on the right has white edge, and the lip is fuzzy, so that is taking after speciosa. And then the one on the left Germaine Vincent, is very similar to violacea, where the lip is completely hairless, no hair, not fuzzy, and the entire flower is that full fuchsia magenta color. And even, you know, under light, you can see the one on the left has that glowing violacea characteristics. That slightly glowing type of, you know, look and feel to it. So there you go. This is the 2 Germaine Vincent I have, and this is the beauty of seed propagation. You never really know what they will look like, what you'll get until they bloom. And I'm really thankful that I got 2, and both of them have slightly different characteristics. At the time, I wasn't sure what I was getting. I was hoping to get the one I saw in the photo where the color of petals and sepals were random, kind of like to trespass, but none of these 2 have that. But at least these 2 still have some slight differences. This is all I have for you today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to get more orchid related videos from my channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification. I want to wish you happy growing, and I will talk to you in my next video. Ciao!